All right, we want to talk about the economy now. What a record day on Wall Street yesterday after the Dow broke and then surpassed the 22,000 mark. Still is this morning, becoming the sixth straight record close and the 49th since the presidential election. So that's the first time ever that the Dow has reached that number, and it was helped by news from Apple with stronger than expected sales and other companies as well. The Dow Jones has jumped 3,600 points since President Trump has taken office. So we want to show you the current numbers right now, just hanging on to that 22,000 mark.
So what does it all really mean, and can we sustain this type of growth? Joining us to talk about that is Sean McCarthy from Wells Fargo Private Banking. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Oh, thanks for allowing me to join you.
For the average person who's maybe just concerned about their 401k and they're not, seriously playing the markets and they're not, investing a lot of wealth necessarily, in this, what does it mean for us, and in what direction are we headed, do you feel?
Well, the 22,000 level and these round levels that we hit, they tend to become more meaningful if we can sustain them for a time. So if we can stay above 22,000 for several weeks, then it becomes important technical support for the market. At this point, we've just crossed this week, and these round numbers attract a lot of attention, just like our birthdays when we hit 40 or 50 or 60. And the more important thing as we hit these higher levels for our ages or for the market is, are we healthy at these levels?
Okay.
So what I read is investors are tying this into tax reform and hoping that the Trump administration will do something with taxes this year. Is that how you see it?
Well, that's some of the hope that's there that can actually extend this, but more recently, this run-up we've seen has actually been based on fundamentals and good earnings that have been coming in from companies. If you look at second quarter financial results, we've got them for most of the publicly traded U.S. companies. 3/4 of companies have beaten bottom line earnings expectations, and more than 2/3 have beaten sales estimates as well. And that rate is running much higher than we normally see in an earnings season.
So I guess it's anybody's guess of what will happen at this point. Some say stocks are too high right now, too expensive. And then others, a Wharton School professor says we will see 24,000 by the end of the summer.
Well, the August-September timeframe is tricky. It tends to be a weaker seasonal period for stocks, but ultimately, the economic data points to even higher earnings in the third quarter when this is reported in October, and then still higher earnings than that when the fourth quarter begins to report in January and February of next year. So it has us pretty optimistic that while we could have a downturn in this weak seasonal period, that next year market levels should be higher.
We know that the dollar has weakened, and so it's baffling to me, I don't understand this kind of thing, how that can happen simultaneously with a stock market surge.
Well, many of our larger companies that are represented in the Dow Jones Industrial Average are multinational companies. So as the dollar weakens, it allows foreign purchasers to buy more U.S. goods in dollars. So we've seen exports expand as a result of that.
So what would you suggest for folks with a 401k now? I suppose it depends on your age and where you are at in your life, but would you put it in something more aggressive, or right now, since it's doing so well?
Yeah, well, if you're already invested, you want to stay invested. While we're in a weak seasonal period, any downdraft is likely to be quick and difficult to time. If you're in cash and you're thinking about, okay, do I move more cash into my riskier investments? You can move some of that now, and I would think about averaging in the August, September, October timeframe, some in now, some in mid-September, and then get the rest in by the end of October, because those good earnings will start rolling in mid-October.
Really? Okay.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Nice talking to you.
Nice to speak to you when things are on and up, right?
Yeah, don't call me when it's
No, we'll lose your number.
Wait a minute, you said that October was going to be a better month.
Didn't you promise?
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.